Hey guys, Joe here. So I am heading to my house just to upload some videos. So I'm working on this presentation, or I should say structured content. And so I had to shoot it on multiple cameras, and it was going to take like an hour to upload each video. So I'm like, let me head home, because for whatever reason at work, I don't know what the upload speed is, but if it takes an hour for something at work, it takes like maybe 10-15 minutes at home. So I'm at least going to get that thing uploaded. So we have that. And then I also got this cool little, a new keyboard case for my iPad in case I have to end up using that. So we got that. And honestly, super excited about the amount of shit that's being done. It's still not as fast as I want, though then again I kind of want something immediately, but there's a lot of good stuff that's been happening with the assistants and things like that, and I think it just comes down to consistency, where I was talking to Paul today because he had ended up stopping him, and it was actually weird because I was just thinking about this other guy for this other company where there's a lot of issues going on. He's trying to get out, and honestly I would love to get him for my company, but I just don't need anyone right this second. So it was weird because he was in, and then I was just thinking, I'm like, oh, I really need to get him. I was about to give him the guy's number so that at least they can get in communication with each other. And then funny enough, and he normally doesn't, we see him probably 2 times a week at this point, but he was just coming in for something else, and it just was weird how it worked out. But honestly, I'm kind of I shouldn't say upset, but this guy is awesome. I already know, I haven't really worked with him. I don't know him, but just by the things he was saying and stuff like that, I'm like, oh my God, he would be such a huge asset to this team. And honestly, he would be a huge asset to any company he ends up going for, as long as the owners are okay with someone taking the lead and just, if the owner's okay with just giving someone the ball and just letting them run with it. Obviously, there's going to be issues that come up from time to time, and maybe some things that you would rather have been handled or been done a different way. But you can't grow a business when you're the go-to person for everything. You just can't handle it. There's only so much shit you can do, and it's impossible to grow an actual company. I've talked about it in the past and I don't want to sound negative whatsoever. If you want to be the type of person that it's like a one-man band, or I don't want to say 2 trucks in a truck as a bad thing, but if you're happy and you're content with, you just don't want to work for someone else, and you're okay with if you're doing sort of phone calls, emails, you're installing and all that kind of stuff, and it's just you and a helper, go for it. It works for some people. We have a company that just started buying from us. They've been in business for 20, 30 plus years, and it's just the 2 brothers, and it works really well for them. And I also know that from talking to them, they just do it a certain way, all the time, and you can just tell that someone else going into their quote-unquote ecosystem, it just wouldn't work out. And they're super thrilled with what they do. They can pick and choose what jobs that they're doing. Their pricing, I don't really know everyone's pricing, but just based on if a contractor comes in, it's oh yeah, we went up against them, and their pricing's higher than the average company, so they're able to charge more of a premium price. They get to choose whatever they want to do, and a big reason for it is because they're not paying other people. And because it's the 2 of them, they don't need to book 5 jobs a week. If they put in 2-3 jobs, they don't need as many jobs as other people. And because it's the 2 owners on site, a lot of times they're getting a lot of referrals and word of mouth and things like that, because they're able to control the entire process. So there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're trying to build a business that's not a job and that gives you the freedom and the flexibility to do whatever, then you need to get more people involved. But the problem is, and the guy Dan Mortel talks about it in his book, Buy Back Your Time, which is a very good book. And I was telling Paul today, it's not a lack of knowledge, it's a lack of execution typically, is that one of the things he talks about in the book, I forget the loop, but it's like tell, check, loop, right? It's where you're telling, in the beginning, you're okay with telling someone what to do. Oh, tell, check, next, right? So you tell them what to do, you check it, and then it's like, all right, do this next. And it's okay if you only have like one person or whatever, and they're just getting started, and you're like, all right, that looks good, now do this, which is fine. But honestly, like, I hate working with that kind of a person. Like, I really want someone that thinks about what they're doing. I tell people all the time, if I tell you to do something, if you think there's a better way, then let me know. I do say, like, this is not a democracy. If I think ultimately my way is better, like, we're doing it my way. But if you can prove me wrong, by all means, please prove me wrong. Because I don't want to be, back with the fence company, the first one, I was the smartest person in the room. And like, every decision was made, I had to make that. Everything, if there was an issue, whether it was known or not, like, I had to be the one dealing with it. There wasn't really anyone that was like, all right, is there a better way to do this? And like, we grew really quickly, but then we leveled off because we got to where we were because of like what I knew how to do. But then it just gets to the point where in order to level up and in order to get to the next level, you need other people, right? Whether you could bring in a coach, but a lot of times, if you just bring in someone that thinks and like gives a shit, that's all you really need. But it's also to have that type of person, and the type of person, they're called an integrator. So I've talked about the book Traction by Gino Wickman. If you have not seen any of my content before, or you just have heard me talk about this book and never did anything about it, I am telling you, it's one of the biggest things that it's made the biggest impact on this business, and I only implemented like 10%. There's still like another 90% of this book, and I just didn't do anything with. But the 10% I did, oh my God, that's crazy, right? And really, it just comes down to the core values. Like, if nothing else, that, right? And so anyway, but the integrator role is a person that takes like your vision, the owner of the company, and says, I really want to be able to do this, this, and this. Well, the integrator just goes and like, they figure out the way to do that shit, right? Whether it's figuring out the processes, finding the people, the training, whatever it may be, like, they're the one that do it. But in order to really, and like, this is another book I probably should read, is there's a follow-up book to Traction called Rocket Fuel, where it talks about how the visionary of the company, like owner of the company, and the integrator can really like work well together. And so you have to be, I guess I should read the book. But like, for me, one of the biggest things that I would see from other owners that would make it where that integrator wasn't going to be ever successful, because I'm actually seeing it right now with this individual, is that the owner of the company isn't willing to let go, right? I'm not saying to like completely let go and don't do anything and like just let them run amok and see what happens. Like, you can 100% be involved in the I wouldn't even say the execution, but at least be involved in the game plan and stuff like that. But you got to be willing to let go of the reins a little bit and let people like fall, like kind of like fall on their face. There's going to be mistakes that happen. There's going to be things that you don't agree with. And now, that being said, like, I was telling my wife this concept the other day. You don't have to like for my son, he's 13. So it's like, we already know, because like with ADD and stuff like that, and we already seen it where he doesn't really think about what like consequences and things like that. He just doesn't. Like, when he wants something, whether good or bad, there's nothing in this world that's going to stop him, right? And a lot of times, like, he's already like 4 steps ahead before we even know what the hell's going on. And then we're kind of catching up, right? So one option is to just let him make the mistakes, and which happen all the time. And a lot of times, like, he does like dumb shit to get himself in like trouble, and then tries to cover it up, even though like we know. Like, that's the one option, right? Another option is to try to control his entire life. We could try to do that. How well is it going to work? I don't really know. Probably not really well, because at that point, like, he's so determined, like, he would just bypass anyway. Or the third option is just to put bumpers in place. What can we do knowing how he is, and same thing for this integrator role, knowing how they are, what are some of the things that we can do to kind of put these bumpers up, so that way, like, we're going to give him the freedom and the flexibility to make the choices how he best sees fit in order to go into the integrator, in order to solve this problem or make this vision happen. But we're also going to put these things in place so we can't like veer too far off, right? We're not going to, I don't know, you know, if he's just coming in, like, we're not giving him access to like all our bank accounts and social security number and license. We're not giving him all that shit, but like, we're putting stuff in place where he can like make these changes happen, and where we don't have to be directly involved in everything, right? And maybe it's in the beginning where you're just like giving him things that he can do. And in the beginning, you're really involved with the game planning, the execution, and after the executing, looking at what needs to be tweaked, refined, and things like that. Maybe that's what you do in the beginning. And then after that, as you guys start working with each other, maybe it's less of the, at the end, the tweaking and refining. Maybe you're not the one thinking of that stuff. Maybe it's like, all right, well, what do you think, right? And they say, well, I think we need to do this, this, and this. And you're like, all right, sounds good, go do it. Like, what do you need from me? And like, a lot of times they'll be like, nothing. Like, let me just do this, right? And I have that crews at work. Like, he's really freaking awesome in the production area. And it's like, I also have to realize that there are things that I'm doing that, even though like he's light years ahead of like where he was like even a year ago, is there things that I could be doing or not be doing or whatever that's allowing him to progress even quicker? Because at this point, I'm really looking for like a general manager to run the operations when we're not there. But maybe he wants to be that person. Maybe having that open communication and things like that. So anyway, I just got to the house. I'm going to be uploading that stuff, and hopefully I can get in and out pretty quickly because I got more shit to do. And I'm really excited about what you guys are going to see in the coming weeks and months, because there is so much getting done. And if we just stay on this path, it's going to be amazing. So have a great day. Talk to you.